one of the hardest things for me after doing almost 25 years in prison and then being released, it wasn't, trying to adjust to the times and trying to adjust to how things changed out here and the people and, the places and the neighborhoods and all this other stuff. For me, it was finding my identity, like who I am outside of prison. You know, I got locked up as a kid. I grew up in prison. Prison formed me into the person that I was. Before I got locked up, I was a little kid that played toys, that watched Dragon Ball Z. I was a nerd. I read comic books, stuff like that. Into the extreme of going to prison, so I didn't have a medium. Um, Coming back to society, I'm trying to find like my place in society as a person of society. Like, who am I? In prison, I was a drug dealer. In prison, I was a violent offender. You know what I mean? In prison, I was a king. I had people working for me. I sold strips. I sold crystal meth. I made a lot of money, and that became my identity. The drug dealing, the money, the violence. That became who I was, not what I did. You understand what I'm saying? So getting out here and knowing like I can't survive being that person. I can't survive out here and live out here and be successful out here by being a violent person, by selling drugs because selling drugs is temporary. You know what I mean? And I'm trying to live different. I'm trying to be a better person. I go to church. I grew up in church. House of Joy, third generation. Before I got locked up, like I was a good kid. I was a let's say semi good kid. Just got caught up in a bad situation. But I didn't. Now it's to the point where I'm out and I'm trying to figure out like who am I? Where do I go? Am I a good guy? Am I a bad guy? Am I a good Christian? Am I even a Christian? You know what I mean? Because I know what I'm supposed to do, but I don't live by it. And I know they say God give you grace. He come to me as you are. You know what I mean? Where you are. And so I'm taking those steps. But I feel I feel convicted. I feel guilty of a lot of stuff that I've done and a lot of stuff that I'm going to continue to do. And I feel guilty, honestly, about who I am. Like, I'm trying to figure this stuff out. That's the hardest part for me. And I don't know if anybody else has been out here, that they feel the same way or still trying to figure it out, or if they even got it figured out. You know what I mean? But this is my struggle. It's something that I'm trying to figure out. And I got a great support system. I got a girl that I'm so in love with. But even trying to figure who I am out here, it affects my relationship. Because there's times where I feel like maybe she look at me like I'm a simp. Maybe she look at me like I'm weak. And I know who I was. And I'm trying to figure out who I am now. I'm trying to pull it back from who I was. Like I said, there's no medium for me. Like I don't know the medium. Like who am I to be in between there? You know what I mean? It's frustrating. You know what I mean? That's all I can say. It's frustrating. Stay blessed.